The first time Jonah Cole saw her, she was standing at the edge of the auction yard with her hands folded over her swollen belly, eyes fixed on the dirt as if it were safer than looking at people. The sky above was the hard blue of late summer, and the air smelled of sweat, hay, and desperation. Jonah had come to town for fence wire and coffee beans. He had not come to witness a moment that would divide his life into before and after. Jonah was a man shaped by quiet. He owned a small ranch far from the railroad and farther from hope, a place where the land was stubborn and the nights long enough to make a man speak to himself. He had buried his wife 7 years earlier, along with a child she never got to hold. Since then, he lived like someone paying a debt to the world, rising before dawn, working until his bones ached, sleeping without dreams. He told himself this was enough. The crowd was loud that day. Men laughed too hard. Women whispered behind hands, and someone kept shouting numbers. Jonah followed the noise with a frown, irritation prickling his skin. That was when he saw the woman beside an older one who gripped her arm too tightly. The older woman spoke fast, her voice sharp with panic and anger. She said her daughter was a burden, that shame had ruined them, that someone needed to take responsibility. She said words Jonah had only heard in stories whispered at night. The younger woman did not cry. That was what struck him most. Her face was pale, her lips pressed together as if holding something fragile inside. She wore a faded dress and shoes that pinched her feet. When she lifted her eyes for a second, Jonah felt as though she was looking through him and into something long forgotten. Someone joked that she came with an extra mouth already included. Laughter rippled. Jonah felt heat rise in his chest, a tightness that reminded him of grief. He thought of his wife's empty arms. He thought of the child who never breathed. Before he understood his own movement, Jonah stepped forward. His voice came out rough, unused. He said he would take her. The crowd fell quiet, surprise hanging in the air. The older woman turned, eyes narrowing as she studied him. She named a price. Jonah paid without bargaining, coins clinking like a final answer. The woman was led to his wagon as if she might run. But she didn't. She climbed in carefully, one hand on her belly. Jonah took the reins, his heart pounding harder than it had in years. As the town shrank behind them, he realized he had not asked her name. "It was Mara," she said after a long silence. Her voice was low, carrying an accent shaped by another people, another history. She told him she was part native, raised between worlds and belonging fully to neither. Jonah nodded, unsure what to say. He told her his name. That was all. The ranch greeted them with wind and wide emptiness. Jonah showed her the small bedroom near the kitchen and left food on the table. He slept on the couch that night, staring at the ceiling, listening to the house breathe differently with another soul inside it. Days passed carefully. Mara moved slowly, helping where she could, sweeping the floor, mending torn cloth. Jonah worked harder than ever, trying to outrun the questions chasing him. At night, he heard her hum songs that sounded older than the hills. The sound slipped into him, filling spaces he had sealed shut. She told him her story in fragments. A man who promised love and disappeared when the truth arrived. A mother broken by poverty and fear. A town that turned its back. Jonah listened, saying little. But every word settled into him like a stone dropped in water. The baby came on a night thick with storm. Rain lashed the roof, thunder shaking the walls. Mara cried out, pain sharp and sudden. Jonah froze for one terrible moment, memories of blood and loss crashing into him. Then he moved. He boiled water, tore sheets, held her hand while she screamed and begged and pushed. Fear soaked him through, but he did not let go. When the baby finally arrived, slick and crying, Jonah laughed and sobbed at once. It was a boy. Mara collapsed back, tears running into her hair, whispering thanks in a language Jonah did not know. They named him Samuel. Life changed shape after that. Sleep came in pieces. Joy came unexpectedly. Jonah found himself smiling at nothing, holding the child with hands that once shook with emptiness. Trouble came when Jonah least expected it. A man rode up one afternoon, eyes cold, smile thin. He said he was the father. He said he had rights. Mara went pale. Samuel clutched to her chest. Jonah stepped between them, feeling something fierce rise in him, something he had not felt since burying his wife. The man threatened, sneered, reached out. Jonah struck him once, clean and final. The man left with blood on his lip and hatred in his eyes. For weeks, Jonah waited for retaliation. None came. The land remained quiet. One evening, as the sun burned low and red, Mara sat beside Jonah on the porch. Samuel slept between them. She told Jonah she loved him, not with drama, but with certainty. Jonah felt the truth of it echo inside him. He realized then that love had not abandoned him. It had waited. They married in the spring, with wildflowers blooming around the house. Jonah became a father in every way that mattered. Mara became a woman no longer owned by fear. The land softened under their care. Years later, Jonah would watch Samuel run across the fields. Laughter carried on the wind. He would think of the day in town, of a choice made without understanding, of a miracle born from courage and compassion. The loneliness that once defined him had been transformed into something larger, something enduring.